Hey, what's up, Next Level crew? Welcome back to yet another episode of What's Your Next, the show where we talk about reinvention, lifestyle, and freedom, and creating a life you actually want to wake up to. I'm Dave, and I'm joined by Stacy Riska. We're your lifestyle and franchise matchmakers, and today we have a great, topic to dive into, and that is, why should you explore business or entrepreneurship? Why?
Welcome to What's Your Next. This is the go-to podcast for aspiring business owners who want to get to the next level, escape the rat race, and give their middle finger to the corporate 9-to-5. If you want financial freedom, work-life balance, and the business of your dreams, you're in the right place. Dave and Stacy Riska, husband-wife franchising duo, openly share their successes, failures, and lessons learned in franchising, business ownership, and working with your spouse.
And so, Stacy, we'll start off with that exact question. Why don't more people explore entrepreneurship?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? Because why don't more people explore entrepreneurship? And we've talked to so many candidates, we've heard it all. There's a million of them. I think the biggest one revolves around fear. They're scared, right? Because nobody ever taught us about business. When we went to school, you didn't learn about it. And society teaches you to be a follower, not a leader. Go get a job, push this paper from one side to the next, get your paycheck, and after 25 years, get your golden watch. Maybe not today, but I think people are just like, nobody ever gave them the confidence and the clarity that, you know what? I can do this. I can be my own boss. I can own a business. So I think that's a lot of the reason why people don't. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think really Stacy's right. Unless you were exposed to it before in some way, maybe your parents, were small business owners or entrepreneurs, or you meet somebody along the way that becomes a good friend who runs a business or starts a business. It's just not something that just jumps into everybody's mind. And Stacy's right as far as our educational system. They really don't teach this. They teach you theory. They teach you how to apply theory to a mega corporation, expecting you that you're going to just go get a job and work within that system. And that's all there is out there. The reality of it is that many people do become entrepreneurs. And the reason they do is because they have overcome this fear. They had enough burning desire to make a change in their life because what they were doing either wasn't working for them or it wasn't meeting their needs, and they wanted something different. They wanted a different lifestyle, and it was burning enough that they were able to cross the barrier and start something on their own. And that doesn't just mean franchising. That could mean they started their own business, kind of like us two knuckleheads. We decided to do that first the hard way, and we got a lot of bumps and bruises along that route. So, Stacy, why should people explore business or entrepreneurship even if they're completely undecided? Why do you think they should go forward?
Yeah, most people going into this, most are undecided, because how could you possibly know if it's right for you? If it is, what business would be a good match? I'm sure you have a million questions. And that's why working with someone like us can be so helpful. We tell our candidates that we've been down all of the paths, and we candidly share the pros and the cons of looking at that, because there's many different ways that you can get into business ownership. And look, exploration, learning, being open to learn about new things, there's no cost to that except maybe for your time. Because otherwise, you might end up like Dave and I and get an MBA in the School of Hard Knocks.
That is absolutely a fact. And, one of the things that, and franchises aren't for everybody. I do want to say that there are times where we have candidates where they come through, our process, and either we identify that they're really not a good fit for a franchise, or the franchise, identifies that they're really not a good fit for their franchise or a franchise. But the reality of it is, particularly for those who have never been in business before and do have that, extreme fear of what that looks like. The nice thing about franchises is that they are proven systems. They're businesses where the owners have already gotten the MBAs in the School of Hard Knocks, and they've come up with enough of a process to make it duplicatable and successful. And they even deliver the results in the form of an FDD to you that you can review before you even decide to move forward. So hopefully, going through that process and through our proprietary 9-step process where we help educate you about all of this, that franchising is something that will take and alleviate a lot of those fears of being in business for yourself. So what does entrepreneurship offer that a job doesn't? I mean, what do you think that, why do you think that business, has and provides things that a job just can't provide?
Well, I can tell you from talking to candidates who currently have a job, most are miserable. They'll tell me they're burned out, they're bored out, they're stressed out, they're sick of being in meetings. They want to trade meetings for meaning, right? They want to do something that they have a passion about. And ultimately, this comes back to your why. Most people who want to look at business ownership, what it's going to offer you that a job won't is more control over your time. You get to decide what you're doing when. You get to build something that's yours. And even if it is a franchise, you're still putting your spin on it. What you do in your community will differ from the way somebody else runs it in their area. You're building a team around you, so the people part of it is a little bit different. And so what it also gives you is the opportunity to replace your income that you might have had in a job, which gives you a lot of tax benefits. And there's multiple reasons. It can give you legacy, which for us, that was important to teach our kids business skills that they could use and perhaps have our children take over the business going forward. So those are some thoughts that come to my mind. What do you think, Dave?
I think one of the biggest things is you're building your own asset. I mean, you're literally, legacy is part of that. It's what brought that to my attention is that, when you're acquiring and running a franchise, you're not just out there every day doing a job for somebody else, building their net worth. You're building yours. You're building an asset that is typically saleable at the end of the rainbow for hopefully a nice, healthy profit, as we've seen, in a couple that we've transitioned out of over the years. So let's wrap this up with one last question. What do you say to someone who is just scared to explore business ownership? I mean, what do you say to somebody like that?
I would say, first of all, reach out to us because we are happy to talk with you. Know that there's never any cost. There's never any sales, never any pitch, never any obligation, just possibilities. And realize that fear is part of the process. We were scared out of our bejesus when we started looking at franchising because we're like, oh my God, it seems so overwhelming. And ultimately, when we came down to the one that we were taking a serious look at, still there was fear because it's like, is this going to be right? Is it the right time? Oh my God, it's a huge investment. Can we do this? But you know what? If you don't have fear, I would be fearful because fear is what makes you move forward.
Right. Fear can motivate you.
Yeah.
It's just a question of whether you can act on that fear and make it motivate you. So I agree with Stacy when we made those decisions. I think I was more fearful of acquiring the franchise when we did than when we started our business from scratch. I don't know why. I mean, maybe because I was just such naive knucklehead that I wasn't paying attention when we started our business how hard it would be and how how much more difficult that path is, for most people who don't have true prior business experience. So again, franchising is a great opportunity to work through a lot of those fears. It's a proven system. It's, I mean, the nice thing is there's a process that we put you through. You can even talk to the other franchisees if you get far enough in the process to really get, your deep, fearful questions answered by somebody who's already been through it in that exact franchise and where they stand today and why they move forward. So there's so many reasons to want to consider franchising as an entrepreneurship path or business path. I think it's a great topic. It's one of my favorites, and we hope you've gotten something from this. We really hope that you enjoy our content. If you do, as always, we ask, please like and subscribe. It really, and comment. Give us some comments. Ask us some questions. We do a whole series on answering your franchise questions answered. Ask some questions about franchising, then maybe other people can learn from your questions. We'd appreciate it. And we promise we will catch you on the next episode of What's Your Next?